Joined now by Mary Spicuzza, who covers City Hall and politics for us, Cary Spivak, who's one of our watchdog reporters. And Cary, you've been writing a lot this year and last year about bad landlords and some of the games and shenanigans they play to avoid paying taxes and fines. Can you give us a quick update on where some of those stories stand?
Well, the most recent thing is that Jim Herrick, who's the executive of Robert W. Baird and lives in a $1.1 million mansion out in River Hills, we found out last year that he owned numerous Central City properties that were loaded with problems. The mayor was pretty upset when he found out about that, and he put some pressure onto Baird, and Mr. Herrick has since sold 7 of his properties for about $1.6 million, which is a little bit less than he paid when he first purchased them.
Right, and he had some pressure, I presume, from Baird as well to get out of the landlord business.
Baird made it clear they were not happy with the publicity he was generating and that he was in that business.
Yeah, and he has this. Is this all of his properties, or are there more to?
There's still a couple
sell?
more properties that LLCs that he's connected to own that have had some problems. So far, we're getting no feedback as to whether he's being pressured to sell those or if he's going to sell those, so we're still waiting.
And Mary, let me ask you, so at City Hall, the stories that Cary and Kevin Crow wrote last year generated a lot of attention, task force, calls for action. What's happening on that front?
Yeah, Common Council members got very concerned about this after the series ran, or as the series has been running. They immediately, after the start of the year, decided to do essentially a task force to crack down on problem landlords and LLCs who try to use this veil of secrecy. It passed unanimously. One person was gone, but 14-0 on the Common Council floor. They were fired up and ready to go, and then 2 months later, that committee has not met. There was a debate over an agenda that apparently led to a canceled meeting. They kind of fought about whether it was outside the scope of this committee that had been originally focused on foreclosed and abandoned homes. So they've now basically, created a new task force with different membership to go after this issue. They seem to be over the hurdle, but again, 2 months has passed and they haven't met.
How quickly do you expect this group to work? Because it seems like it's like a meeting in order to have a meeting, in order to schedule the agenda, in order to have the meeting. But when do you think we'll see some recommendations and things coming forward?
Well, the goal, they're supposed to have something done by the end of June. We'll see if they meet that deadline, but they wanted to come up with a list of actions that they were going to take and things that they wanted to see done. They said that they wanted accountability. They wanted to make sure that another committee that's meeting to address this is meeting it. There are a lot of committees at City Hall. But, I think that this is something that got under Common Council members' skin. Obviously, a lot of these, they have...
They're in their districts.
Right,
in many
exactly.
cases,
and they are sometimes, magnets for crime, drug dealing, other issues, and they would like to see them cleaned up.
Yeah. Well, let me ask, so there's some things the city can do on its own in terms of getting tougher, pursuing different collection avenues. There's some things that they can't do. So, Cary, tell us about some of the measures at the state that we could see introduced and moved.
Sure. City Hall and Representative Goyke have been working on legislation. They're trying to bring in some Republican sponsorship also, and sounds like they will have that. Legislation would make it easier to buy properties at sheriff sales, which is where you can buy foreclosed properties for next to nothing. They want to be able to put that on the internet. And they also want to ban anybody who owes any city money for court judgments, building code violations, or back taxes, prevent them from buying properties at the sheriff sales.
All right, well, that'll be things to watch in the weeks and months ahead, and I'm sure there'll be more task force meetings on committees, on task forces at both levels of government, probably.
There have been some more lawsuits, too, so there has been action. To be
action.
fair, the
Yeah,
city
that's
attorney's
true.
office has taken some legal action.
Yeah, they've gone after a couple of the bigger players.
Yeah. All right.
So maybe more of those, too.
Yeah.